Good morning, everyone. I'm Imran Chowdhury. I come from Bangladesh. Bangladeshi community is where my activities actually involved. So just to give you some idea of my background, I was a refugee in 1971 when I was literally 10 years old when Bangladesh Liberation War happened. My father was a freedom fighter. He was a major in the Bangladesh East Pakistan Rifles. And we poured into the shores of India when the annihilation and the genocide that was happening in East Pakistan. And we became homeless. We didn't have any food to eat. And we had a fantastic, affluent lifestyle prior to this incident in March 1971. So we lived in a 12 by 12 shanty, mud floor in a refugee camp in India. So my brother, 17-year-old brother, joined the freedom fight. Sadly, he didn't come back. Whilst we were in the refugee camp, we started doing some activities because life is completely redundant. You have nothing else to do. So few of us got together and we started. I was only 11 years old, just bear in mind. So we started doing some scouting, training, and preparing to perhaps one day join into the guerrilla warfare and liberate our country. But from then onwards, I got myself involved with various social activities, doing community work, teaching youngsters how to be in the refugee camp, how to learn alphabets, because young kids, there was no schools, nothing in that time. So then we came back in Bangladesh. I'm just going to shorten it, and finished my education, did my A-levels, and joined Bangladesh Military Academy to be commissioned as a commissioned officer in Bangladesh Army. So 1971, I was a refugee. 1981, I became a second lieutenant in Bangladesh Army. And then after a few years, I left, and here I am in UK. But what I found from the outset that my community in UK is perhaps one of the most impoverished, marginalized, and literally they're down in the rank of various other communities. So I've been trying to bring it up. I've been trying to help them come out of all this ghettoization, the marginalization, the language problem, the education problem, and everything. And I've been doing it since I was talking to Chris. When Bangladesh played in 1999 World Cup in UK, I'm the one, I was working in a company. I went to my MD and I said, can you please sponsor Bangladeshi team? There's no one to sponsor Bangladeshi team. So we got in touch with ECB. Tim was the chief executive of ECB, and we said, can we join and give some money to Bangladeshi team? So that is how I had been contributing. So then what happened actually, excuse me, the diaspora's religion that we have, we are predominantly Muslims, but we are perhaps one of the most secular Muslims in the world. We have been living side by side with Hindus, Christians, Buddhists together, never had any communal, racial, or religion problem. But I saw that the diaspora's religion is changing. We are becoming more orthodox kind of religion, theology is changing. So I protested and I formed this organization, Center for Policy Promotion and Prevention, in order for me to be a stakeholder when the government or any organization tries to come up with some policies. And I will help them research it, give them some feedback, whether it's going to be acceptable or is it going to go well within the community or not, and then promote the hidden heroes. Like, for example, Naj Islam. He's been doing a lot of community work and nobody knew him. So I thought I will write about him in newspaper, I will write about him in Facebook so that people get to know him, because this kind of community champions need to be promoted. And then I thought I will do the prevention in terms of radicalization, prevention in terms of terrorism, prevention in terms of the crimes that are happening, the drugs use and antisocial behavior, all of that. And I've been doing it. I go around to all the ethnic television channels regularly. I go and make speeches. I go to all the community centers where Bangladesh is living. I go and talk about the legacy, the history, history, the good legacy of the Bengali race that we have. Because living in this country, all the people who are born, they have an identity crisis. They're in a, in a crossroad. They don't know whether they're Bengalis, they don't know whether they're English. I mean, that's a massive lacuna in terms of the identity crisis. So we do that. Now, when this pandemic came about on the 23rd of March, from the first week of April, I decided that two things I'm going to do is, I know the Bengali people like the back of my hand. When I was in the army, I was doing a lot of, we had martial law at the time, so we did a lot of community work. And I found that the community is absolutely not interested in doing or undertaking any physical activities, right? So on the basis, I knew that Bengali people in this pandemic, if the restaurants are closed, if the takeaways are closed, and if they're not going to warehouses to work, they will just eat pile of rice and will get fat and sedentary lifestyle. And the talk was that you need to have vitamin D, you need to have all of that. So I said, okay, let me try. I started doing some videos in my living room and sending it out. And me and Naj Islam, we did not stop for a single day in the whole of the pandemic. A lot of people actually criticized that. Why you guys are out? Why are you doing this? I said, let us do our job, you carry on. So then I decided that we'll do some exercise in terms of getting some cycles. We'll go out and then walk in Beckett's Park. And from there, I thought I will make some exercises. So I started doing a running club, a cycling club, 2 football clubs, 2 badmintons. They're all very rudimentary. It's still in a very primitive stage. Then I started posting this to entice others to be encouraged. So I had a good response from Birmingham, I had good response from East Ham, Tower Hamlets. I've got some people, they're interested in copying or emulating my footsteps. And then Matthew got in touch with me. He saw my post. It's like a serendipity. I don't know how he found it, but he got in touch with me and he has been great help. Now, what we have achieved, it's probably still just a scratch on the surface. Because you're looking at in the Borough Council of the ex-Borough Council, we had in excess of 3,000 Bangladeshis living. Now, out of which you are looking at about 1,500 male from the age of 0 to 65. Now, predominantly, I would say anybody who crosses 40 has diabetic, has underlying health issues, deficiency of vitamin D, they have heart problems, they have blood pressures. But the community is very shy to go to the doctors. They don't want to go and be seen and told that you have diabetes. So I've been trying to drag them out. That is the difficult bit. You can't really, and I don't blame them as well, because if you look at the communities in Northampton, just to give you a bird's eye view, predominantly 80% working male from the Bangladeshi community is working in the restaurants or takeaway sectors. Now, they go to work at 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock, don't come back till 11 to 12 at night. So when they come back, they have another bowl of big rice. What it is, how the food of Bengalis constitute is, we have 90% rice and 10% curry and vegetables and other things. So you can imagine the amount of intake of carbohydrate. And then they go to sleep and watches television till 3 o'clock in the morning and go to sleep, don't wake up till 12. And at 3, they go out for work. So this is the lifestyle. There is no physical activity at all. So it's like a ticking time bomb. And I know Bangladeshi community like the back of my hand. I've been always working with them. So the problem that we have got about 60, 70, 75, 80 people altogether. Yeah. 80 people coming out, but I need your help for the social prescribings, the other agencies to really help me bring a lot of people. I'm ready to go out 5 days a week. I have no problem with that. I'm 60-year-old, I can manage it. I'm very rusty. I did a physical training course when I was in the army. And after that, I've never done any exercises. So I need training, I need help. And I want you guys, or everyone here, please kindly help us to bring those people to join us. And then we can have a healthier lifestyle. Because the children actually copies their father. So if the father is very sedentary, he is very removed from the rest of the world and sleeping at home and going to work and coming, and the children will follow that footstep. So my father was a footballer. He played in Pakistan 11 from the Pakistan Army as a second lieutenant. So we always had a lifestyle that you need to be physically fit. That's an urge that you have. So the fathers are not helping, but I think we all can put together and start helping the community, because I can assure you the money the government is spending for the medicines and diseases is enormous amount, absolutely enormous. With that fraction of money, if we get, and if we can all together organize something, we can reduce and have a healthy lifestyle, because the generations of Bengalis or Bangladeshis are really at risk. Thank you.
So what I'm loving there, Imran, is all the questions I've written down. I said we will go through them as we talk.
Okay.
You've covered. So you might have to think of some more answers as we go through. Pratima, do you want to?
Okay. Thank you. That was great, Imran. Thank you. So I'm Pratima. I work for Sport Northamptonshire. Not often gets confused with Sport Northamptonshire. So I'm always on the phone saying no, Support Northamptonshire. Just because Imran did the kind of background, I came as a refugee from Uganda, and we came through because of the Idi Amin kind of issues, and we had cousins in Wellingborough, and so they said, rent a house here. So that's how we arrived in Wellingborough really as a family, and there was very little kind of community provision at the time in Wellingborough. So I've kind of grown up kind of contributing hugely to a lot of the developments that have happened in the Hindu Asian community, and then wider in the race equality world. I worked for the County Council as Assistant Director for Communities, and I left in 2010. For various reasons that I didn't agree with really at the time. So it was quite a move for me to leave what I thought was a huge contribution we were making as black professionals in the local authorities, and a lot was happening at that time that was building resilience in communities, and I think we lost a lot around that time and through the austerity period as well. So I live and breathe kind of Northamptonshire, and live and work here. In terms of Sport Northamptonshire, we're a collaborative of third sector organisations, but through the pandemic, it's huge. Coming from a background where I was doing a lot of race equality work and a lot of work in terms of black communities and developing services, building organisations, etc. What the pandemic has kind of really shown me is, as much as we were fighting the cause for all inequalities, health inequalities included, it just felt like there was this pause that COVID brought, and the fact that there was this sense of all these health inequalities hadn't been dealt with, and then COVID goes and exacerbates that further, And so it's given me kind of personally, as a black professional, really kind of a pause to kind of think, why didn't we do what we needed to do when there were resources and other things, and what's happened in Northamptonshire that we haven't moved forward really. And so we began, like Imran a bit, in terms of pandemic, that Support Northants kind of ethos is about being really listening into communities. And I often kind of take a personal position is, unless a community says to me, this is a need, we want you to do something, that's when we act. So we take kind of social action around what people are saying they need. And very soon into the early pandemic stage, people were saying, we need to do something, help. People won't have food, people won't have, we go to see everybody, there's weddings, activities at the temple, what we're going to do. And so my kind of advocacy in the community was, I don't want to react to this in the sense that we all mobilize as lots of volunteers, because I know volunteering can't be sustained to the level you want it to be. And so we began to kind of think a bit, and then suddenly saw that there were these emergency grants available to do something. So through that, we applied for some funds, really short term, 3 months, 6 months, and developed what was a collaboration of Asian organizations called Ashadeep, Wellingborough District Hindu Association, Indian Hindu Welfare Organization, NREC, Rights and Equality Council, Pravasi Mandal, and all these organizations, we'd all existed. I'd actually helped develop some of those organizations, but would never work together. So actually it's been a real benefit that people have suddenly come together. And so we started doing meals and lots of well-being activities, and just kind of planning into coming here today. What I was really pleased about, kind of thinking about this last night, that I've actually got stats of saying, you know, we got people doing walk and talk, physical exercises. I never would have had that information, you know. I just wouldn't have known that. And the level of activity is nowhere near what it should be at all. But it's a bit like Imran, where we've started really. And we've used IT to a really good level. And Zoom has been an incredible favor to us in terms of enabling people to access not just physical well-being exercises and things like that, but being socially connected, coming together, singing, which I still think is part of physical well-being. And it's been this incredible kind of surge of people suddenly coming together in a different way, and across the county and stuff like that as well. So just as a kind of example, we started, this is our, this last program that we've been managing is a MHCLG funded, so central government funded Community Champions program. And through that, we started a walk and talk group just in April, and we've got 182 attendees for that. Exercise classes and chair yoga, we've got 539 people kind of doing that. We've got Afro moves for the African Caribbean community, 181. Fitness sessions, 107, and I just wouldn't have even had those stats available to me. And the Community Champions program is a dedicated program for Black communities, Asian, African, and African Caribbean communities. Really was kind of available for Wellingborough. We've just taken license to do this across the county, really. And that program, just as another example of how, where there are resources and funds, how we could easily miss the boat, really. And Jill Chapman, people from Wellingborough will know her, contacted me and said, there's this fund targeted at COVID messaging for Black communities. We haven't got any time or capacity to do this bit. If you're interested, here's what they're saying. We worked over Christmas just to kind of pull that together, and got 159,000 from that, you know. And now we've got about 16 community champions in the Black communities, and 2 coordinators. And it's just coming to an end, and I'm talking to local authorities desperately now, saying it's ending at the end of September, haven't got any further funds. But it's been, we mobilized so quickly. So when you were talking about resilience and all the rest of it, the strengths in the communities, the abilities, the thing about mobilizing quickly, we've got all of that, you know, and we were able to do something really quickly. And I would never have envisaged all these people, community connectors, if you like, in the communities, who have always been there and volunteering, but we've managed to pull them together and kind of pay them for the first time. So they're really committed, and not pay them like full-time jobs, 7 hours, 14 hours, whatever, you know. And they've really taken like the sense of kind of Zoom sessions at a level I could never have thought of at the beginning of the session. So we've got kind of people really contributing to the cultural way in which people engage in physical activity. And yoga has been a really big thing. Brian breathing exercises and stuff has been a really big thing as well, you know. So again, kind of my sense kind of now is I really want to contribute to the strategy, because I think there's such a strong partnership we can have, and a big plan for Northamptonshire around Black communities. And let's get it right. Let's just do it, because I think we have that kind of moment now. Just a couple of things around exercise, physical health. A lot of, I think Imran will agree as well, a lot of the kind of physical health has been around men, and men doing stuff in the Black communities as well. And there's a real need for women and young people, etc. And so, you know, it needs a real clear focus around Black women as well. So I know Matthew's been helping the United African Association in terms of confidence in water, confidence and swimming. And suddenly you have women in the African Caribbean community who never would have done that and now are doing that, you know. We've just got a program with Northants Sports where we're trying to do kind of support to disabled older people on a more one-to-one basis, and then kind of do more walking and talking, that kind of way of coming at it, more yoga, etc., but delivered from within the community, for the community, by the community as well. And one of the challenges we've had, Matthew knows about this, is we haven't got the kind of skilled workforce in physical health. So where we had the grant from yourselves, we've struggled to recruit even that short-term project, you know. And now we've got somebody, but we need to upskill them as well. So loads of kind of challenges. Just one kind of last thing, as part of the kind of overall sense of kind of what was happening for Black communities in COVID nationally and locally, and you've all heard the headlines around disproportionate impact for Black communities. We came to support Northants are now hosting a coming together of Black organisations called Northamptonshire Black Communities Together. So NBCT now is kind of an established entity, and we now want to have a kind of a place in the county in a more strategic way to kind of then influence the kind of work you do and others are doing as well, so that we use this moment, like I say, to really tackle inequalities and address them in a way that we should have done in the past. But there's a real opportunity to look at the evidence base that we've created through what works around physical health and well-being, and do that together. So.
Well, what I'm loving is you've taken one of my questions around the workforce, which we'll come back to, but it's great to hear both of you are so passionate about this. Do you think your communities are as passionate about it, or what's the views on physical activity within your communities that you're trying to change?
Well, thank you, Matthew. Community-wise, community is very passionate. It's very supportive, and especially Bangladeshi community. Anything I have always tried doing with the community, I have been enormously supported. But the problem is, according to I can't literally get the women out. We need to come up with a strategy that how we can get the ladies out. We have 52% women, then 48% men. So it's a huge problem, and literally it's a time bomb, health-wise. So we need the women to be out. Men-wise, I don't blame them, because the lifestyle literally don't allow them to come at 9 o'clock in the morning. We just had this conversation yesterday. So can we shift the time? So I'm going to try that and do, say for example, at 11 o'clock. And the thing is, my lifestyle has changed. I've just been elected as a councillor in the West Northamptonshire. So I've got a lot of meetings and everything to go. But I could literally get help to get more volunteers, to train them. I've been talking to Alex to send a few of my guys to do badminton training course and physical training course, so that we have nice qualified, within the regulations and everything, they can go and do these exercises. Then what we'll do is we'll do 12 o'clock or maybe 1 o'clock. And if I have a premises, I can even bring people from after work just to have a session. I've spoken to one of our yoga teacher, Ashok Bhai. He's a great gentleman. I've been to Wellingborough and I said, can you come and just show physical, some yogas sitting in the chair so that I can do some videos and take it round to the restaurants and show them in the kitchen that, guys, can you not do this? So this community is very supportive. They want to come. I guess the lifestyle is not permitting them to be totally participating in it. So we need to work out a strategy where the times need to be staggered. And there's a saying, if Mohammed don't want to go to the mountain, bring the mountain to Mohammed. So we'll have to do as it suits them. Maybe we'll have to go to the restaurants on a Sunday or a Monday when they're quieter, and we'll do some video shows just for 10 minutes and say that, guys, why don't you try doing these things at home? That will ease your blood pressure, muscle problem, the various pains and aches that you have. And slowly, we will be able to encourage and entice them to come to the proper exercise. I mean, that's all I can think about. But Matthew has been great help. And if we all collectively work together and formulate a strategy, I'm sure we'll be able to get more people. And I'm not only confining with Bangladeshi community. Anybody is welcome. I'm talking to the Afghan community. I do a lot of work with the Iraqi communities. I write their application for home affairs and all that. They come to me, cab drivers and the saloons and kebab shops. So I'm also trying to rope them in that come on board and do some exercises. But it's again, the resources are very limited. It's basically a one-man show at the moment in terms of imparting the training. I need more people to come forward. They can go and run the classes and exercises so that I can oversee and manage the whole project, and I can take someone on board with me. Naj would be very good. He's very helpful. So we work in like hand in glove basically. So yeah, that is the way forward. And like I said, I need your help to bring the community out and formulate something. Okay.
What do you think the attitude are then within? You would be disappointed, or just appointed someone to work across Wellingborough and Corby a few hours a week to engage more people in physical activity. What do you think the challenges they might face in terms of getting those increased physical activity?
Yeah, so it's a bit similar to Imran really, that I mean, in a sense, there is a natural, there is a sense of we need to be more physically healthy and active. The challenge is certainly to have women participate a lot more than they are, but also the kind of sense of a lot of persuasion at the front end to kind of say, even if you go for a walk, and we'll take you, and the confidence building to take them. So when we started the walk and talk, it was very gradual. So we had a community champion in Corby, Wellingborough, and Northampton, and the people who were attending our sessions, we would persuade them to just come out. But I mean, having said that, COVID was a big issue as well. But then the kind of we worked on the basis that the talk was more important than the walk for the women, and then the two came together. So again, how you come at it is culturally nuanced, I guess, in terms of what will work. The other thing, we've just run completing a 12-week diabetes kind of group with about 18 participants, and all for the reasons about diabetes is so heightened. And we've run these as kind of Zoom sessions, and every session we demonstrate the need for yoga, breathing exercises, things like that. So in a sense, there's a gradual sense of using physical health to improve. And then we're creating kind of, this is a kind of real creative side of what we've kind of started, is creating videos of, we have a health trainer who's been doing Zoom sessions since the COVID period for us. And she's Eastern European, but she has a lot of kind of cultural awareness of what we need. So she's going to be doing a video of Indian dancing, and the community champions are going to be doing that in a park. We'll film that and then use it for the diabetes group and other groups to kind of then use it for their own, in their own homes, if you like. and Ashok is also going to do his yoga kind of video as well. So again, there are different ways of kind of coming at it, but I think the sense of this is why it's really important to have people from within the community who get the cultural stuff completely, and then we can kind of work on the physical health and well-being. But the time is right. People are really, I think COVID is I think you were saying as well, you know, the opportunity is COVID has suddenly heightened the sense of need to be physically well. So yeah.
So that leads on perfectly to the last question. What do you think, both of you, think the partners from local authorities, governing bodies of sport, different ones can do now to really support the work you're doing there to embed physical activity in sport?
Shall I? Firstly, like groups like mine, basically it was more of a theoretical group. I was doing more activities based in my office room because I was going out to the televisions, writing papers. I write for Bangladeshi newspapers, both English and Bengali. It's all about community development, history, heritage, and how to not to get embroiled in all those of antisocial behavior, drugs and crimes and all that. But now that it has come to the forefront, that there is a demand and need for me to have a premises with a hall room like this. I can do yoga, I can do physical exercise. It was raining yesterday, we had to abandon the class. So this is one thing. Secondly, I'll be honest with you, how I see my community is, my community people don't speak English. Most of the men don't speak English who work in the restaurant. So to communicate with them, we need Bangladeshi people to go out to them. But when it comes anything from the authority, they respect the authorities, like GP's practice. So GPs should be able to prescribe. You have diabetes, you have blood pressure, you've got heart disease. Why don't you go and talk to CPP? They run classes. So that way I will be able to recruit more people. I need to have open days. I mean, all the agencies together, open days, bring the community, talk to them, make presentation so that they understand the importance. I mean, of course, the community is still very susceptible. Trust me, even if it is not COVID-19, it's diabetic, it's blood pressure, it's heart diseases. So community for the rest 20 years coming, they will always remain very, very ticking time bomb. It's a tinderbox to blast. So we need to get the agencies together and use our, I don't know how to say this, power, or pressure them or convince them. Convincing is not going to happen, because if they go to the GP and they are going frequently going for same medicine but not taking any physical exercise, they think the medicine is going to solve all my problems. But you need to change your lifestyle. If you don't need to change your lifestyle, with the only medicine is not going to help. So if I tell them, they will say, who are you? Are you a doctor? So I can't say that to them. They will challenge me. So if it comes from the GP, if it's come Public Health Northampton, if it comes from other agencies, that guys, in order for you to be physically fit, the medicine is not going to solve your problem. You have to undertake physical exercises. You need to get fit. You need to lose your weight. You need to, Matthew has seen, every day in the morning, my group, I take weights and I encourage them. Even if they are not losing, I say that, oh, you have lost X amount of pounds, just to encourage them that the activity is helping them, you know. So we need to do this kind of helps, and I can only see way forward. I'm looking at national perspective, trust me. We have in excess of perhaps the next Office of National Census 2021 will probably have 1+ million Bangladeshis living in the UK. So out of 1.1 million Bangladeshis living, you're looking at 65 to 70% are in that bracket of susceptibility. So there's a huge responsibility we have, as far as I am concerned, as a Bangladeshi, I have in my shoulder. So we can perhaps do something within this county in Northamptonshire, and I need all your help.
I completely agree with that. The opportunity we have is I'm going to say that one of the things I've observed of suppose Northamptonshire is that you've been really proactive. Matthew's really been out there, really connecting. And I wouldn't say that of many agencies, and if it wasn't happening, I would say, you guys are not kind of there. And that persistence, that sense of kind of we need to do something, that sense of we have resources, how can we access, and the patience you've given, certainly my project, to say, we've got the money, I can write a bid, we've got the money, we haven't got the workforce, what do we do? And Matthew's been patiently waiting until we get somebody kind of in the community. So I think your perspective is right in terms of tackling health inequalities and targeting Black communities. I think what's really needed is we now scoping our community strategy for Northants Black communities together for the same reasons that you looking at this agenda, and we have all the other agendas Imran's talked about, and we have in terms of wider health and well-being. So the opportunity, I think, is that my advice would be that you have a positive action section plan within your strategy around Black communities in Northamptonshire, and that gets kind of resourced, both from a kind of developing a workforce in the community point of view, but also the delivery kind of point of view. We've got really the examples that Imran's given and the ones we've now got a heightened sense of what we've piloted and what can happen, and really grow that kind of program. But if we were to liaise on our strategy and your strategy together, that would be a really good thing, and then we would have a kind of plan for 3 years or 5 years, and then we monitor that and just see how that goes. But without that kind of real clear plan that we all kind of then can properly fit into, we'll miss the opportunity. So, and ultimately our issue is always about resources and investment. And we can't sustain on the basis of the Black organizations need resources to kind of function and operate. And part of the NBCT agenda is to get the collaboration going so that we are kind of using resources to give real value for money, but based on what's needed rather than just for the sake of organizations existing. So again, what we offer you are organizations and us coming together, our expertise and knowledge and all the cultural knowledges, if you like, and then we collaborate with you to kind of develop that plan that we can have as a long-term strategy.